Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe.
My name is Jeff.
And we're going to answer your questions today. But first, I have a question. Jeff.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, shoot. You know what? I just realized we should probably stop recording. I have somewhere I have to be.
Oh, wait, what?
I have a dentist appointment.
I'm sorry, what?
Because today is episode 230.
No.
Hey everyone, Gabe here from the future. So this actually is not episode 230. We realized after we finished recording that 230 was last week. But as you will hear, I liked this joke, so I left it in. Enjoy. Here's the thing. So I thought of that joke a couple hours ago. When we just started recording just now, I was like, wait a minute, there was a joke I was going to make like right at the beginning of the episode. I couldn't remember what it was. It was in the middle of my intro. It came to me and I was like, I got to jump on it.
Great. Glad
how
you did. Glad
are you
remembered.
doing today, Jeff?
I'm fine. I'm doing okay.
Good.
Doing fine. Had a busy weekend with the dog.
Yeah. I actually got to, not to brag to anybody, but I got to meet the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Pepper is adorable.
Isn't she so small?
She is so little.
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely not like the smallest dog in the world.
Yeah.
Like, but like she's tiny. She's she's a 6-pound tiny little lady. She's so sweet. Yeah. So Gabe stopped by and got to see the dog, and that was fun. But yeah, I took her to the groomers to get her nails done. Cause I've been slowly, slightly trimming her nails just to kind of keep them at bay. But I'm just afraid to cut too short.
Sure.
Cause they can start bleeding and stuff like that. So I figure I'll take her to the groomer to get her nails clipped and a couple other things. And that way I can see, I was like, okay, that's where it's safe to cut to. And so when I go in now, I can kind of keep at them myself. And then if, every once in a while, I'll probably take her into the groomer just to get it done professionally. But
sure.
So yeah, that, new exciting things of owning a dog. I got to take a dog to the groomers for the first time. And we took her out for a couple walks this weekend that went really well because she's still pretty nervous, but all in all, it was, it was eventful, but good for her. She played with us with a toy for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Cause she would play with her toys a little bit by herself, but if we interacted with her at all while she was playing with her toys, she would just be like, screw the toy. I want attention from people. And so but today we played tug of war and it was great. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So I mentioned that I got to see Pepper the other day, and the reason that I was stopping by your house, not that I need a reason to stop by your house, but we've only seen each other in person a couple times since last year and everything. But I had a reason to go by, and the reason was that Justin from Crit Academy just had a birthday a few days ago. So yesterday, as we record this, the day before today was Justin's birthday party. And he lives maybe hour and a half, 2 hours from us. And so I got the day off work. So I drove out there, got to see him, got to see Ian, got to see Austin, got to see some of their friends that I've met before. And we played Magic the Gathering.
Not just any Magic the Gathering.
Yes.
You guys played with the new a draft with the new set.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's the new Dungeons and Dragons Magic the Gathering set.
Yes. I've never really played Magic before. I know it sounds weird, but I had never played it. I think even when I was a kid, somebody gave us a ton of Magic cards, but none of, me and my brothers didn't play it. So we just gave them away to somebody else.
Yeah.
And, pretty much all of my friends play it. You play it. My friends at work play it. And I don't know. I just never played it. I don't want to put the money in and put in the time, especially if I don't have anybody to play with on a regular basis.
Right.
whatever the case, Justin was having this party. I figured, what the heck? It's the D&D cards. I'd seen some pictures of them and they looked really cool. So I went out there. We did a draft. It was a lot of fun. I listened to some videos on the drive there so that I could figure out how to play the game, and it was pretty good. And I actually got third place in this draft tournament.
Nice.
Now that's largely because several of the other people dropped out because it went pretty long.
Sure. Yeah. Games like that tend to.
Yeah, but hey, I'll take a win when it's presented to me.
Yeah, win's a win.
Yeah. And so because I got third place, I got some cards, and in the cards that I got a Mind Flayer card, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It's like I think that's like one of the showcase ones for that set, and I don't know, it's just got like there's a couple different like art styles from that set.
Oh, yeah.
That are pretty interesting. Like I think it's supposed to be more like old school, like first edition rule book kind of look, I think. Or
sure. Justin won. He ended up winning the tournament, and each of the different, first, second, and third winners we got a couple boosters as well as some other stuff. And the boosters that he got had a Tarask card in it.
Nice.
But the one that he got was in that same art style. So yeah, it was a really good opportunity to see Justin, to hang out with all of them, and also to learn how to play Magic. So maybe I'll play Magic again in the future. Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I got plenty of cards. We can play sometime.
Cool. So another thing, just related. Unfortunately, the Capes and Crooks Kickstarter did not pass. It did not complete its goal.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, by the time this episode goes out, that will have been, a couple weeks ago, but it's really a shame. I was really hoping for that. I know Justin was too. We didn't talk about it. I didn't want to bring it up because I figured that might be a sore spot, but
sure. I mean, they still did well. It's just, like
they're still going to find some way to come out with it as some sort of product. It'll probably just be like a PDF instead of a physical book,
I mean, like they had almost 400 backers on the thing, so it's like there's definitely interest. It's just it would have been great, but they'll still find ways to get it out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm sure it won't, but I hope that doesn't discourage them from doing more products in the future.
No,
again, I don't think it will. They've done other Kickstarters so far, so
right, yeah, they're doing fine.
But again, it's disappointing. I thought that would have been really cool, and hopefully it doesn't break their spirits too much, and they keep on doing cool stuff.
Yeah, I think they'll do good.
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and jump into this episode?
Sure.
Okay. So I want you to imagine, Jeff, that one day you decide you really want to write a story. You want to write a novel.
Okay.
So you go and you sit down at your desk, turn on your lamp, you take out your typewriter, and you're sitting there for a while. You're just kind of staring at the page, you're trying to think of what to write. But then at some point, it just clicks. You start typing and you get in the zone. You're typing. The clock on the wall is just like spinning and spinning and spinning. The calendar is just, pages are just falling off the calendar. It's a Far Side calendar apparently.
Uh-huh.
And, you're writing and writing and writing. You finally, you come to your senses, you wipe the sweat off your brow, and, you look down and you've got an entire book written. And you're flipping through it and you're thinking to yourself, like, what sort of adventures the characters went on. And you're thinking about how the story was about these heroes who go and they delve into this dungeon and they fight a giant scaled beast and they eventually get this big pile of treasure. And really, you might even say that the treasure is a character in the story. Uh-huh. And so when you're trying to come up with a title for this book, and then the perfect title comes to you. And do you know what that title is, Jeff?
I think I've got it, Gabe.
What's the title?
Mastering the Art of French Cooking.
All right. So the today's cutting board, because this is an episode of dinner party conflict today.
No,
No,
Gabe.
Jeff, I'm your editor, and that's a terrible title for this book about fantasy adventures.
Okay, what do you got for me then?
I think you should call it The Dragon's Hoard.
That's a little on the nose.
Well, actually, see, here's the thing. The dragon was so big that the hoard was actually on its nose.
Oh, it was like, was it in its nose?
Sure.
Was the dragon's nose its own layer?
I don't like where this story is going.
Okay, Gabe, what is our item today?
So today's magic item was submitted by Dustin via Discord, and this was actually submitted very recently. This was like, I think he submitted it like today or yesterday or something. I saw it and I thought it was such a cool item.
Okay.
So the item is called the Escritoire of the Silent Scriptorium.
Oh.
I don't know what an escritoire is. I have a good idea, but I'm not going to look it up.
Okay, I looked it up. I'm not going to tell you though.
Okay. This item is an artifact, and then unlike most magic items, the weight is listed, and it is listed as 155 pounds.
Yep, I buy it.
For anyone in Europe, that is, I don't know, 2 kilograms or something. Who even knows? No, I think that's like
that would be 70 kilograms.
70 kilograms. Okay.
Approximately.
There you go. Deep in an unmappable mountain, the monks of the Silent Scriptorium work to catalog every spell ever conceived in an endless pile of scrolls, books, slates, parchments, and tapestries. Each monk has a preferred medium for collecting and containing the magic they are ordained to catalog. This writing desk was an implement of one such monk who spent 4 centuries scribbling arcane scrolls tirelessly. Thus, the desk became adapted to the collection of magic. The longer it sits in any one place, the more magic it absorbs, leaving an anti-magic zone that expands around it, 10 feet per day, up to a maximum 400-foot radius.
Ooh.
The stored energy can be harnessed in 2 ways. First, any scroll created on its surface is maximized.
Wow.
Second, any magic user touching the desk can cast any spell they know without expending a spell slot, disregarding the anti-magic zone. If they spend a round reading the scratched desk surface, they can make an intelligence check, DC 25, to cast any arcane spell up to their maximum spell level.
Cool.
So yeah, this is absolutely an artifact.
Yeah.
This does some hefty stuff, and it's some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's just like it's the ultimate scroll scribing tool.
Yeah. I love that it actually absorbs the magic around it, leaving the area around it basically a dead magic zone. I know it says anti-magic zone, but like in Forgotten Realms parlance, it would be a dead magic zone.
Sure.
I think that's really cool. And then maximizing any scroll is pretty cool. So for anybody who might not know what that means, it just means that all of the damage dice deal maximum. So that 8d6 fireball now does 48 damage. That's 48 damage, not 4d8 damage. That would be awful.
Yeah.
Whoops. But then you can cast spells without spending a slot. That's awesome too. And the fact that it works even in the anti-magic field, like that's cool. There isn't really any way to weaponize that though, unless you're lugging around this desk and then you put it somewhere that you know you're going to have a fight in like 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And then you could lure enemies into it and then cast spells while they can't cast spells.
Sure.
But the fact that you can basically cast any arcane spell, it's a pretty hefty is a DC 25 intelligence check.
Right.
But you could cast any spell, that's insane.
I just like it because it's you like pretty much almost anybody can write out a scroll with that, because like you don't because you can cast basically any arcane spell and you're not going to use up a slot. You don't have to like have the spell prepared to write the scroll because you're casting it as part of the desk. I don't know, like that's really cool. Yeah, I like this.
Also, I mean, I love the flavor of this item, and I love the world building that it does in its description. The monks of the silent scriptorium. Mm-hmm. Each monk has a preferred medium. So, like, you might meet some of these monks, and one of them's like, yeah, no, I can't work if it's not on a slate. You just,
sure.
Sorry, scroll, get that out of here. Take that to Jim. I need a slate. Tapestry, like, yeah. I'll deal with a tapestry, but I really prefer a slate.
I dabble in carpentry, but
sure. I don't know. I think that typical of Dustin stuff. It's a perfect storm of flavor, mechanics, and just like awe-inspiring theming. I think it's really cool.
Oh yeah.
So good job, Dustin. So I think that'll do it for the Dragon's Hoard for today. Once again, that was the Escritoire of the Silent Scriptorium. I'm assuming an escritoire is a writing desk.
Yeah, it's the desk in your office.
Okay.
It's kind of like that, I imagine.
Gotcha. Jeff, if anybody else wanted to submit magic items for the Dragon's Hoard, questions for our main segment, or stories for the funeral pyre, retirement village, or whatever, how would they get those to us?
They could send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com or join us on our Interparty Discord at bit.ly/interpartydiscord.
That's correct. Now, usually at this point, we would have a giveaway for a great supplement or group of supplements from Crit Academy. However, we actually ran out of people. Everybody who has entered has won. So we don't have anybody to give away the Crit 3 drawing. However, I'm going to tease something we're going to start next week. Next week, we're going to have some information about a new giveaway and little special surprise, listeners. This is going to be a physical giveaway.
Ooh.
We've got some cool physical stuff that we're going to give away. So tune in next week to get some details on those.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. I'm very, very happy that we're going to be able to give these away to some lucky listeners. So yeah, check with us next week and get those details, because I don't feel like coming up with the details right now.
No, just a little cliffhanger there. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, there you go. So you better be back next week so you'll find out what to do. Do you love Interparty Conflict? The show you're listening to right now? Yeah! Then check out their Patreon at patreon.com/interpartyconflict. You can help support the show and get tons of bonus content too. Access hundreds of outtakes, dozens of short stories, periodic updates about the behind the scenes of the show, personalized media, a monthly Roll20 game run by Gabe himself, and more. Every month, green and red tier patrons get access to the bonus podcast InterPatronConflict, where Gabe and Jeff cover a wide variety of topics. Join right now and access the most recent episode, which might sound a little something like this. I don't know at what point that stopped being a thing, but now he is always in the bed, especially ever since we got a new mattress. He is always there. He is always taking up so much space. He is always pushing me out of the bed. Every single night I have woken up, since we got this new mattress, every single night I have woken up and fought with the dog for space.
Sometimes we go sleep in the living room.
Yes, sometimes.
Once I went to go sleep in the living room and Gabe was already in his chair asleep.
Yeah.
So it was, so you got wasn't that within the first week of you guys getting the mattress?
Oh, he loves this new mattress.
So you guys had got a brand new mattress, and there was a night where it was just Superhand sleeping in the bed.
Yep.
The important thing is he's happy.
Once again, go to patreon.com/interpartyconflict to help out the show and access all that bonus content today. And then one more quick thing, just check out the other podcasts on the Crit Nation Fellowship. Check out Crit Academy, critacademy.com. Don't be dissuaded by their unfortunate failure to meet the goal of their Kickstarter. They've got tons and tons of other awesome stuff on their podcast. They've got awesome stuff on DM's Guild. Lots of great stuff. So check them out, critacademy.com. Every week, Justin, Ian, and Austin create new and reusable content for players and DMs alike, and it is all awesome. Also, check out Brute Force and Ignorance. They're an actual play podcast on the network. They've been putting out new episodes for the last few months. They're doing great stuff over there. Also, check out the other podcasts that are on hiatus. Check out D&D Character Lab, where Garen and Dan made characters and debated whose characters were better. Also, check out the Kind GM podcast, which is another advice podcast specifically for running a game. So check all those out. We got some great stuff on this network. Enough of all the admin, Jeff. Let's get into some questions.
Okay, our first question comes from Josh on email, and they ask, have you ever bought or considered buying a special edition of any source book, or do you feel like they generally aren't worth the additional cost?
Yeah, so I personally have 2 special editions of the 5th edition books. I've got a special edition of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and the Mythic Odysseys of Theros.
Mm-hmm.
In my cases, I don't mind the special editions. I think that on their own, they look really cool, but I never really seek them out because they don't match the rest of the books I already have.
Yeah, that's been my experience with special edition type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, or collector's editions that, you really are going to want to get them all.
Yeah.
Because I think I bought a collector's edition of one of the World of Warcraft expansions. I forget which one.
Okay.
No, it was Cataclysm, because I remember I had the Deathwing mouse pad for a while.
Oh, okay.
And I remember seeing somebody had posted online or something a picture of they had gotten every single one thus far, and I was like, oh, those look really nice all together on a shelf. That looks so cool. And then I'm thinking man, I only just have the one. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go through and find and buy the older ones. Those are gonna be worth those are gonna be even more expensive.
Yeah.
Usually, if I'm gonna get a collector's edition, it's because it comes with some bonus content or something.
Sure.
So with video games, when it comes to collector's editions and pre-purchase bonuses and reservation bonuses and things like that, it's usually just some very small cosmetic thing or something. Nothing that's really worth the extra money. You might get an art book or something. That'd be cool. That's cool. Those can be cool. But again, those are things that are just look nice on a shelf. And I don't know, I don't collect enough things to fill out enough shelf space to make it feel oh, this is a cool collection.
Sure.
So
and
yeah.
At least with the D&D books, I'm pretty sure they don't offer anything extra. It's just a cool cover.
Right, which I can appreciate that for sure. Yeah. Sometimes the collector edition covers of stuff,
mm-hmm.
The D&D stuff is that it just looks way better. It's that's cool, and it's a nice hard, a harder cover, or it's a bigger book, or it's got just I don't know, the pictures that much cooler.
Yeah. I mean, they look cool on their own, but again, they don't match any of the other books that I own, so I'm not really gonna seek them out. The 2 that I do have, I think one of them I got as a gift, and then the other one, the Mythic Odysseys of Theros, I actually gave as gifts, and because I was at the gaming store and they had 20 copies of the special edition on clearance.
Oh, sure.
For whatever reason, so I got myself one, and then I got a couple for a few other people. So
yeah, maybe they over ordered them or something.
Maybe, or maybe a lot of people they all bought the regular version.
Sure. With D&D books, I don't think I have any special edition ones.
There is one that I regret not getting, and regret is kind of a strong word because I don't think I ever had an actual opportunity to get one. But
sure,
I feel like I've talked about this in the past, but back in 3rd edition, I think right before I actually started playing D&D. So again, I don't think it would have been possible for me to get one, but the 3rd edition Epic Level Handbook, if you bought the version that they were selling at certain conventions, like at Gen Con or whatever, it came with a little bonus of a pair of Alidamara's dice, which are an artifact that is in the book.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's basically like a portable, reusable version of the Deck of Many Things. It's a set of dice that, depending on what you roll, give you various benefits. Again, benefits or drawbacks. Again, similar to the Deck of Many Things. And they gave away a physical set of those dice. And like I've seen pictures of them and it's so cool. That's such a cool thing to have. But again, I don't think there is any possible way I could have gotten one. So instead I've just 3D printed one.
Sure.
So I have a set that I 3D printed.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever works.
Okay, our next question comes from Sean M. on Facebook, and they ask, choice paralysis. If your players are having trouble figuring out what to do, how do you actually get them to move forward and actually play the game?
Yeah. So we had to paraphrase that one a little bit because it was worded a little weird. And then
right. So it basically just when you got so many choices in front of you, how do you get the players to decide on actually doing something?
Yeah. And then one other little bit of context that Sean M gave was that he was saying that he's found lately that Zoom or Discord fatigue is leaving people a bit less likely to try with each other to make the story happen. And I think that bit of context is important because I have noticed similar things when we've been playing you and I, Jeff, have been playing a Pathfinder 2e game with two of our friends. Mm-hmm. And then also I've been playing our Roll20 game, our Patreon Roll20 game every month. And in both cases, there are times when, all of our options may be laid out before us, or maybe they're not necessarily laid out, but we know what all of our options are. And everybody just kind of sits around waiting for somebody else to do something, which is always a problem with a game table. But I do agree that it seems to be more common nowadays with remote gaming, just because like you're not face to face with anybody. So there's less immediate pressure from everybody else to do something.
Yeah, there's less pressure. And if you're not doing it like video chat, like you're not seeing anybody's expression, like, because if you see somebody is excited about one option, you might be more likely to go along with that,
Sure.
Because even if they don't immediately say, oh, I want to do this, you go like, oh, they seem interested in it. Maybe I'm interested in it. Yeah, let's do that. Mm-hmm. Another thing is like there is that when you're working with like remote play, and you're talking to somebody online. Sometimes there's a delay, and people can like talk over each other and things like that. It's not easy. It's not the easiest way to communicate sometimes, especially when it's like long distance and there's a bigger delay. So like people try to be like over polite and let somebody else talk.
Yeah.
So you're waiting for the other person to talk because if you didn't want to jump immediately, because what if somebody else wanted to say something right away and you didn't want to talk over them, and then you'd have to do you go ahead. No, go, you're good. Yeah. What were you going to say? Okay. So I think people have gotten used to kind of holding back a little bit just to see, okay, if somebody wants to chime in right away, let them do it. Otherwise we'll be stumbling over each other because this is, data takes time to transmit over a long distance. That's just how it works.
There's a Key and Peele sketch that was made long before the quarantine, so it feels so prescient because of how that was a problem. That delay where like you're like, oh, sorry, go on, and then you wait, but then you start to speak, and then they're like, oh, sorry, go on, and so there's a sketch that it's basically just two guys having a Skype call or whatever, and it is just that repeatedly, and it just gets more and more frustrating as the sketch goes on. So I'll put that in the show notes. But so that the point is that is definitely a thing when playing remotely, or even just talking remotely or whatever. So that can definitely lead to groups. Everybody is just a little bit more conditioned to be more passive and giving everybody else the right of way. Right. And so that can be a problem.
Yeah. So that's, that can play a part.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're working on getting players to just decide, to pick something and just go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, like as a player, I try to if I feel like it's a group that isn't, that is sort of having having trouble making the decision, I might just I might just go ahead and do something. Like I might push the door down kind of thing. If it's if I feel like nothing's happening and something needs to move us forward, I might be the guy who's like, all right, my character does something ridiculous and just goes for it, and we'll just kind of deal with the consequences there.
Sure.
But not not in every situation. I don't want to be a jerk about it, but like
sure.
If I feel like it, like if me as an experienced player recognizes like this is nothing, this is a roadblock of our own creation. Let's just keep moving.
Yeah. As a player, yeah, I think that it really is. If you're noticing the group is having this problem, it is a good idea to just like, all right, that's what we do. We do that one option. We go through that door. I'm going to go ahead and open that door. We've talked in the past about like sometimes you need somebody in the group that is going to just go ahead and do something when the rest of the group can't decide, because it's better to be doing something than for everybody to be just sitting around and waiting for someone else to do something. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily that you shouldn't let people discuss things. If people are having a good time discussing what to do, I guess good for them. But if it's a matter of nobody is taking the initiative, then yeah, you do need somebody to just do it.
Yeah.
As a DM, one thing that I've tried to do in our Roll20 games is I've tried to, whenever I feel like I've laid out all the options and then the players nobody is really taking that initiative, I try to reiterate what their goals are and then what the immediate options are. And like, I guess if it gets really bad, I might pointedly ask if they are doing one particular thing. Like, so are you guys going to be going into this room? So are you going to be talking to this person? Maybe just lead them a little bit, lead the question to try and get them to just say yes. I'm sure a lot of players might be more willing to be like, yes, we do that, instead of, okay, let's go talk to the mayor or whatever. If the option is asked as a question, it's easier to get the initiative to just say yes than nothing. So I like to try that. I think that so far that seems to be working when it, just reiterating stuff, making sure the players know what the options are, and just kind of leading them a little bit into the option that I might think is best if they can't decide, if nobody's making a decision. Because you do want the game to be moving in some direction.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's having any fun.
Sure. So. This definitely, like, that's absolutely a struggle that a lot of people have, players and DMs alike. Mm-hmm. So if anyone comes up with like a foolproof solution, please let us know. Let us know in the comments or whatever.
Put a timer on the table and everyone's character dies.
I mean, hopefully it never comes to that, but if it comes to that, that is an option.
I think a long time ago we actually talked about like timers or like a timed events and stuff like that.
We've talked about that for as far as like making sure that people take their turn in combat.
Oh, sure. Like like the little like in chess, the little timer things.
Yeah.
But I think I was remembered like if it's like a dungeon is falling apart or something like that, do you put a time limit on do you put a time limit on the time that the players spend trying to figure out how to get out of the dungeon, that kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah. I feel like there were times in earlier editions where that was a thing, like I think the Tomb of Horrors has a couple spots like that where the DM is just supposed to start counting.
Right. Ominous.
Always struck me as weird. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. They just start counting and like, okay, what does that mean? I don't know. 5.
I guess. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell, there's a little joke I'm going to tell. Okay. So a man is sick and he goes to the doctor.
Okay.
And they run some tests and the doctor says, I'm really sorry, sir, but you have a terminal illness and you don't have long to live. And then the guy says, oh my goodness, how long do I have? And then the doctor says, 5. And the man says, 5 what? 5 months? 5 years? What? And then the doctor says, 4. 3.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yep. So yeah, it's tough. I don't know, I guess is the answer. I've got the things that I do, but I don't know how helpful they actually are.
Right. Our next question comes from Vtones91 on Reddit, and they ask, do you prefer active or passive defense in combat? Passive is when attacks roll against static number to hit, and active is when you roll to dodge.
Yeah, so D&D is a passive defense game.
Right.
Where when someone attacks someone else, the attacker rolls a number. They roll a d20 or whatever, but the defender, their defense is passive. It's just 10 plus all of their modifiers.
Right.
Theoretically, you could play a game where attackers are passive and it's just, oh, my attack is 10 plus all my modifiers. And then maybe the defender has to roll to dodge. Then you would roll and you would add all your modifiers or whatever. So I guess this is asking which of those would we prefer. Right. I've never played with an active defense game.
So, I mean, and I guess active can also be like both are rolling.
Okay.
Whoever rolls highest wins. Whoever, if whoever rolls higher is, doesn't get hit or does. And I mean, like D&D does have some active stuff, like when it comes to like grappling or something like that. Like you might do like opposing athletics checks or something like that.
Yeah.
So like there is some bit of active combat.
Mm-hmm.
And then because we've been playing Pathfinder a lot, Pathfinder 2nd edition is much more about passive stuff. But there is still a mix of both, because like
that's true.
A lot of things in Pathfinder 2nd edition, like a lot of things that would be in D&D that would be active, like the opposing skill checks, become passive. So like if you're trying to sneak past something in D&D,
sure, yeah.
You would roll your stealth check. They would then roll a perception check.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that's not in 5th edition. There's a passive perception, so that's not a good example, because
right.
At the very least with perception, it's static, or it's passive.
Yeah.
But I mean, in Pathfinder 5th edition, they took that to a whole nother level where so many things go off of DC. So like you have I guess a dexterity DC or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't think of examples, but there have been a lot of times where Jay has asked us just like, what is 10 plus and then whatever the modifier is.
And it really is supposed to be like, one, it helps streamline stuff, because then you just have this static number. Like you only have to worry about, the DM only has to worry about one number.
Yeah.
And then like with secret rolls, things that need to be rolled in secret, it's easier to do when the player doesn't have to announce to the DM what their number is, because the DM already knows what that number is, because they just add 10 to their skill on their character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, with a lot of the skills and stuff, like, and I know we've talked about like passive perception and the idea of passive of like the other skills being passive as well.
Yeah, like theoretically there's nothing stopping 5th edition D&D from using other skills as passives.
Yeah. And like, I do feel like it can be used very well in some situations, and in other times it's not necessary.
Okay. I'll interject. I think I came off fairly negative about passive perception specifically when we did talk about it, but when I did, the spot I'm coming from is I don't think it should ever be passive versus passive.
Sure. Right.
Like I think that if there is a passive, there should always be something rolling against it, because when it's passive, like the reason that I don't like passive perception is because you use it against stuff like traps, which has a set DC. So it is just passive versus passive. And so then as the DM, you're building an encounter knowing what is going to happen before it happens, because you already know what the passives are. And also because of what I think is a very stupid rule, that when there is a passive in the game, that is the lowest number possible. And so as a result, players cannot get lower than their passive perception ever, which I think is real stupid, especially when you do understand that the game itself bears no difference between passive perception and passive other things. And so it's like, okay, so that means no player can ever roll under a 10. Cool. What game am I even playing now?
Sure.
So I just want to get that out there. It's when you don't have the passive whatever is the lowest possible result. When that rule doesn't exist, passives are better. And then also, it should never be passive versus passive.
Yeah, passive versus passive. Yeah, I think that's just kind of boring. And like you're right. Like, because if the DM knows everybody's passive perception and then they knowingly put traps in there that beat that passive perception, like, yes, the players can make an active check.
Yeah.
But they're not always gonna do that. You know, like it's
sure.
You can't be reliant on that, or like they might think that they're passive because they have such a high passive perception that they're going to be fine. But in reality, you've put one in that's 1 DC higher. But I do like it. I do like the way that they're using it in Pathfinder 2nd Edition because it does sort of streamline stuff. Like they're like DCs in Pathfinder 2E, like there's basically just like a generic like DC list. Like,
sure,
like,
yeah.
You know, like if they're supposed to, because like the way that skills work in Pathfinder 2E is like you're trained, you're an expert, you're a master, or you're legendary. Rather, you're untrained, expert, master, to legendary.
Yeah,
and like you get access to different feats of the skill feats based on what level you are. And so it's like, if somebody's trained, like if you wanted to be a DC that you think somebody who is trained in a skill would be able to pass on a decent roll, you give them like a 15 DC or something, and then like I don't know, I think it goes up by 5 or something for each level.
Sure.
But I guess this is more like a specific question to like combat.
Yeah. Like imagine if D&D had, anytime you made an attack, the defender rolled a d20 for their AC.
Yeah. So if it's roll versus roll instead of roll versus passive.
So like everything is an opposed roll.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Like, I don't know what huge difference that would make.
Yeah.
Because again, it's just, you're getting random numbers.
Like, I mean, numerically, it's not going to make a difference, but the difference I see is that it's doubling the number of rolls being made, and rolls are fun, but they take time.
Yeah.
Like you were saying that the Pathfinder streamlines it by using passives. And
right.
This is the opposite of streamlining. It's purposely making it more complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you do the math ahead of time of what your bonus is, it's simple math. It's you're adding one thing to another. It's not that big of a deal. But you're right. Like, it adds up, and dice roll off the table, or
sure, yeah,
or land on a slant, or it's I think one die roll is fine per event.
Yeah.
On occasion, I feel like again, I'm trying to think specifically, because we haven't gotten into all the nitty gritty of Pathfinder 2E, but I even think like a grapple check is you are making a check against their like probably
their combat maneuver DC or AC or whatever.
It's like some sort of DC. Like I feel like in most cases you're doing I'm actually not 100% sure if there's ever supposed to be opposed rolls in Pathfinder 2E.
Huh. Well, that is something to find out. Next time
I feel like that is a thing like that we'll sometimes do when when we've been playing, but then like I'll think about it as like, you know what, I think we're supposed to be just using the DC, but whatever.
No.
A game's a game.
I feel like there was a variant rule in, I think it was in the 3rd edition Unearthed Arcana, that was it was a similar thing where initiative is re-rolled every round.
Oh, right.
And that, to me, that seems like a similar concept of, that's interesting and maybe is more real, quote unquote, realistic, But again, it's just going to bog down the game a lot because every round you got to rewrite the initiative and everything.
Yeah, that's a lot of extra bookkeeping. That's going to slow things down a lot. I mean, like that is kind of exciting because then like the person who went last might go first, you know?
Sure.
So they get 2 actions in a row, and it's like that's kind of exciting, you know? Yeah. It's just like, if only I had one more, if only I could do this one more thing, and then you roll a high on your next round's initiative and you go, yes. But yeah, I think again it is one of those things that just kind of slows. Combat's already going to be. Combat already takes forever. Like
yeah,
you can make it more. You can make it more realistic and even more fun and interesting. But you know, it gets less fun the longer it takes.
Sure. And then one more thing about this, I remember when we first started playing D&D, when I was I taught Jay how to play. And there would be times where Jay would get really frustrated because somebody would attack him, they would hit, they would deal damage, and he would be like, but why can't I dodge? Why can't I roll to dodge?
Sure.
And, you know, I didn't even really have the vocabulary to explain it. But to me, it's like, well, I mean, you already tried to dodge. That's what your AC is. So I'm wondering if maybe if it were 100% active, if it would make more sense to new players that maybe haven't quite grasped what a passive defense is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, again, it would be at the cost of the game taking longer, but in theory, it's not a bad idea, and it would be easier to understand. He's going to attack you. You roll to see if you dodge. You know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because like the idea is like you're taking 10 on your dodge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, try your hand and see if you roll. I'm sure somebody who's way better at math and statistics might be able to tell us different. Like if it does actually make a difference.
Sure.
I assume it doesn't because everyone has the same chance of rolling a 1 or a 20.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it would make a difference other than it just takes a while. So maybe it is just it's just a choice somebody can make to just be like, yeah, no, everybody rolls. Like, let's see just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, I don't
know. I honestly, I think I prefer passive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I was like, felt super, like I've been super excited about Pathfinder 2nd edition because it's taken a way more passive roll to like some of the roll to some of the rolls rather. Yeah, it's because it's just like streamlines everything and it's like you don't have to. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it makes it that much easier for the DM to make secret rolls and
sure.
It also makes it easier for the player to know what they're going for. You know, like I don't know, like I feel like it takes less guesswork out. I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, it makes me feel more in control.
Okay. I mean, that's weird. It sounds weird, but okay, yeah. I believe you.
I don't know exactly how to describe it. Like, I feel like because I don't necessarily know what I'm shooting for because I don't know the DC.
Sure.
But I hate rolling. I hate building a character to do one specific thing and then I roll low.
Yeah.
But
I feel that.
And so like having a dice decide all the work that I did was for naught. Mm-hmm. But then having 2 dice that made it like, so like if I rolled low, but then they also rolled high, I'd be like, oh, come on. Like,
yeah.
Plus that obviously wouldn't work at all. And I think that wouldn't work at all in Pathfinder 2nd edition because of the way that they work with crits now is like, it's not just ones and 20s. It is, are you 10 above or 10 below?
Sure. It would be.
So that is probably why they do the passive thing for pretty much everything because
there would be so many more criticals and critical failures, like so many more critical anything.
Right.
In that case.
So yeah, with the crit rule of Pathfinder 2nd edition, it would make a big difference. It would make it more chaotic. I would imagine.
Yeah.
But I think in 5th edition D&D, I don't think it would make it like mechanically much different. It's just going to make it feel different and things will take longer.
Yeah. Hey, if anybody out there wants to try it out, and get back to us. We would love to hear about it.
Right. Yeah.
All right. I think that'll do it for our regular questions for today. But we do still have our social media questions. Our last social media question was, have you ever stumbled upon a secret door by accident? And I believe my response was, I came up with that question because we had just done a Pathfinder game where I did exactly that. I sat down in a chair and it like fell backward through the wall.
Yeah. We just saw 3 chairs and we're like, huh. So
this looks conspicuous.
Right. So we just sat down and then the cave just started falling backwards.
I mean, it made sense to me. So do you recall if you had any other experiences, Jeff?
Nothing I can think of specifically. I mean, like not by accident, because I don't know, like you just do like a high enough search check or something, you might find something, but I can't think of one where it happened accidentally.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's going to be a common thing.
Sure.
We only got a few responses, which makes sense. On Facebook, Darren W. says, I haven't, but my kids, while playing the module The Undercrypt, stumbled into 2 of them by accident while trying to escape reanimated skeletons and zombies. My kids have this seriously chaotic system where if it looks good, we mess with it. They escaped, but only just. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Whatever works, you know.
Yeah.
Over on Reddit, Alistar the Minotaur says, closest thing that happened to me was our party found themselves in an apothecary's laboratory. The apothecary's homunculus asked us to help it craft a new potion. When we finally succeeded after much bumbling, a secret door, in quotes, popped open, allowing us to continue through the dungeon. Somehow I feel like maybe it was a plot device placed there by some benevolent, watchful eye. Wink, wink. So maybe I think he's saying the DM just kind of made it happen just to keep the game moving.
Sure. Hey, that's one way to keep things like choice paralysis. Like I'll just say there a trapdoor. Trapdoor.
Okay. A little tangent related to the previous discussion that we did earlier. I don't remember which book it was, but one of the books in 3rd edition had a little thing at the beginning that was like, kick in the door. If the party is ever having trouble deciding what to do, someone kicks in the door. You can come up with the reason later. While everybody's taking their turn in combat, you can come up with who exactly is attacking them and why. But just have something kick in the door. Just to make something happen. And then, again, just use the time after that to figure out what it is. And then the players maybe will even start throwing out ideas for what they think it is. Like, oh no, is it that guy we pissed off? Is it an assassin that was sent by the cultists that we fought earlier or whatever?
Right.
So kick in the door is the answer. We didn't get anybody on Twitter, and over on Discord, we got 2. So this might be a record low for us.
Oh no.
Not in a bad way. So over on Discord, Dustin says, I was DMing Temple of the Basilisk cult for 2 players. They had picked up an NPC, and I told the players that he was basically a meat hammer who would follow their directions. They were inside the temple looking at a wall which contained a hidden door that they were unaware of. They kept failing all of their checks to identify the door or read the wall, which was covered in a bas-relief. Eventually, they became frustrated and turned to the NPC. Do you have any ideas? I don't think. I hit things. So the players moved back to allow him room to hit the wall. They just so happened to be standing in front of the hidden door. I rolled, the door fell open, and the players were very astonished. One of the funniest unintentional moments of the campaign. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
This is a tangent, but this made me think this is not related to secret doors. But when we were doing the Age of Worms campaign, there was a point, I think it was when Jeff, your character, got replaced with a doppelganger periodically, not periodically, for a short period. And after you had rejoined the party, Steve's character, Shadowhand Silverbones, the barbarian cleric, was very crestfallen that he had been taken for a fool by this doppelganger who, flawlessly impersonated his party member.
Right. And
so you're in this dungeon and he just kind of like sulked off into another room. the problem was you guys hadn't cleared out the dungeon yet.
Oh, right.
And so while you guys, the rest, you and Jay and maybe there were some NPCs, I don't remember, were like sorting out all of whatever, Steve wandered into a room that had a monster in it. And it was a monster that was meant to be a challenge for the whole party.
Right.
But so he showed up, a fight started, and then Steve went first and he got a crit with a great axe and killed it in one hit. And so story-wise, we decided that he didn't even realize there was a fight going on. He just sulked off on his own. Somebody, someone like made a noise and he just like angrily lashed out, was like, leave me alone, and like chopped this demon in half and then just walked along and didn't even pay attention to it.
Right, yeah. It's like it could have gone really, really badly.
Yes, it could have gone very bad.
But then it did, but for the demon.
Exactly. So fun stuff. Moments like what Dustin was saying are those are great moments. And then one more. Deborah Soar says, one time we took a large amount of explosives in an attempt to get past a door, only to have the floors destroyed as well, and we fell to the next level of the dungeon. I guess we made our own secret door. So yeah, I mean, hey, close enough was my response.
Right.
So yeah, that was everybody. Again, we didn't have too many, but that's fine. It's not all of our social media questions are going to be something that everybody has encountered.
Sure.
Possibly similarly, our next social media question is, do you own any special edition source books? If so, which is your favorite?
So which one's your favorite, Gabe?
That's a good question. I'm going to say Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. I'll be honest, I haven't really read much of the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. The book looks really cool. It's got like space stuff on it, which is cool. But I haven't really read much of the book. I listened to Crit Academy's episode about it, but I just haven't really used it much myself. Meanwhile, Tasha's, I haven't used much of Tasha's either, but Tasha's has the sidekick rules, which might be my second favorite 5th edition rules in the entire game.
Right.
My first favorite being the patron rules from the Eberron book from Shadows of the Last War.
Didn't they put that one in Tasha's too?
Oh shoot, they did. Oh man. Yeah. So Tasha's is my favorite. I forgot. Now the version of the patron stuff they have in Tasha's is not as fleshed out because the stuff in the Eberron book is Eberron specific.
Yeah. It's not camp, or it's not setting specific. So but still, like, great rules though.
Absolutely. Great stuff in there. So that'll do it for our questions for today. But before we close out, let's wind down. Let's take a deep breath. Let's remember those who have come before us, who have given their lives that we may have a better world to live in, as we toss another log onto the funeral pyre. Today's funeral pyre was submitted by Aranatazar on Reddit. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but oh well. And Aranatazar says, I thought there was a portal in the demon statue's mouth. Leapt through head first.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I mean, I can guess what module they were playing. I got two guesses.
Yeah. Yeah, right, yeah.
I don't. Here's the thing, though. I've complained about one of those two modules quite a bit.
Sure.
And I've said, like, who in their right mind is just going to jump straight into the demon statue's mouth?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess somebody did it.
Someone did it.
So I don't know. I guess let's raise a glass in memory of Aranatazar's character. As I say, next time, look before you leap. Clink. All right, that'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the funeral pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. For show notes, links to media mentioned on the show, and running lists of questions and magic items, go to interpartyconflict.com. Join the discussion on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/InterPartyConflict. We're on Reddit at r/InterPartyConflict. We're on our Interparty Discord. We're on Twitter at InPartyConflict. Check those out for our weekly social media questions. Your answers might end up on the show. Find us on the podcatcher of your choice. We're on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you download podcasts. Please rate, review, subscribe, or just tell a friend. If you want to support the show monetarily, check out the rewards at patreon.com/InterPartyConflict. There's a few different tiers, so anything you can spare, even $1 a month, would go towards making the show better, and you'll get bonus content for it. Jeff, tell us about FriendQuest.
FriendQuest is a YouTube channel where you can watch us play video games.
There you go. Also, head over to bit.ly/InterPartyConflict to take a short survey about our show. What you like, what you don't like, etc. And just for taking it, you'll get 2 free printable board games, courtesy of the great people over at hollandspiel.com. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hackers RPG. So, Jeff, until next time.
I don't know how to end it. Have a good day. No. Shoot, Gabe.
Somebody just kicked in the door.
Oh.